Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Coin Hunters. If you've ever looked at a simple Kennedy half dollar and wondered whether it could be worth more than just 50 cents, you're in the right place. Here, we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden errors, and surprising treasures that most people walk past every single day without noticing. From old circulated Kennedy half dollars to modern mint-era discoveries, we explore the real values, auction stories, and collector secrets behind these fascinating coins. Every coin has a history, and sometimes that history can turn pocket change into something truly valuable. So whether you're a beginner collector, a curious viewer, or someone who just found an old half dollar in a drawer, stick around. Because on this channel, we don't just look at coins, we uncover their hidden value. Let's start the hunt. The 1980 Kennedy half dollar with a P mint mark can turn into something extraordinary if it carries the right kind of mint error. Today, we are talking about one of those rare possibilities, a 1980p Kennedy half dollar error coin, especially one found in circulated, scratched, fine condition, that collectors sometimes associate with extreme auction values, reaching as high as $145,000 in rare cases. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, and it quickly became one of the most symbolic coins in American history. By 1980, the coin had already changed from silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition, and it was being produced in large quantities for circulation. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P, was responsible for striking millions of these coins, and most of them entered everyday use without anyone thinking twice about them. A regular 1980p Kennedy half dollar in circulated condition, especially one with visible scratches, wear, and signs of handling, is usually worth only its face value of 50 cents. Even in slightly better condition, these coins typically sell for just a few dollars at most. That is the normal reality for most collectors. But coin collecting is not just about what is common. It is about what is rare, unusual, and unexpected. This is where error coins completely change the story. A mint error happens when something goes wrong during the production process at the mint. It could be a misaligned strike, a die crack, a doubled image, a clipped planche, or even a struck-through error where foreign material affects the design. These mistakes are not supposed to happen, which is exactly why collectors find them so valuable. Now imagine a 1980p Kennedy half dollar that not only has a mint error, but also survived circulation. It has scratches, wear, and a fine condition appearance, but hidden within its surface is a rare error that makes it stand out from millions of normal coins. This combination, error plus rarity plus survival and circulation, is what creates excitement in the collecting world. In extreme cases, if an error is dramatic enough and certified by top grading services, and if the coin is considered unique or extremely rare, auction prices can climb into unbelievable territory. This is where figures like $145,000 are sometimes discussed in the collector community. However, it is important to understand that this kind of value does not apply to every 1980p Kennedy half dollar error coin. It would require a truly exceptional combination of rarity, demand, and verified authenticity. For example, a major minting mistake that is visually striking and well documented could attract serious collectors and investors. If that coin is also one of the very few known examples, competition at auction can drive prices far beyond expectations. In rare situations, collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying history, uniqueness, and exclusivity. But in most real-world cases, a circulated 1980p Kennedy half dollar with minor errors or heavy wear will not reach anywhere near that level. The majority of these coins remain affordable even when they have small imperfections. This is why professional grading and authentication are so important in numismatics. Without proper verification, it is impossible to confirm whether a coin is truly rare or just a common error. Still, the idea of discovering a valuable coin in everyday change is what keeps collectors searching. Many people have found surprising treasures in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. Even coins that look ordinary at first glance can sometimes reveal something unusual under close inspection. That is why experts always recommend examining details carefully. Look at the mint mark. Study the surface for unusual patterns. Check for doubling in the letters or numbers, and observe any irregular shapes or strike issues. Even the edge of the coin can sometimes reveal clues about its production history. This next coin, 1979 Kennedy. Half dollar without focusing on mint mark differences, especially one found in circulated condition with scratches, dust, and a worn appearance, is usually worth only its face value of 50 cents. In most cases, even collectors would only pay a small premium unless the coin is in uncirculated or specially preserved condition. That is the reality for most examples that were used in everyday transactions. But coin collecting is not always about what is common. It is about what is rare, unusual, and unexpected. And that is where the excitement begins. The idea of a 1979 Kennedy half dollar reaching a value like $120,000 in today's auction market is not about a normal coin. It is about something extraordinary happening to that coin. In numismatics, value is driven by rarity, condition, and error. When one of these factors becomes extreme, the price can increase dramatically. One of the biggest possibilities that can transform a simple coin into a high-value collectible is a major mint error. Mint errors occur during the production process at the U.S. Mint. These errors might include double strikes, off-center strikes, wrong plancher errors, die cracks, or even dramatic striking misalignments. While small errors are relatively common and add only minor value, major and visually dramatic errors are extremely rare. Now imagine a 1979 Kennedy half dollar that has a significant minting mistake combined with survival in circulation. It is dusty, scratched, and shows signs of heavy use, but the error is still clearly visible. This kind of combination, rarity in production plus survival over decades, can make collectors take notice. In extremely rare situations, if a coin has a unique and dramatic error that is verified by professional grading services, and if it is one of the very few known examples, auction competition can push the value to extraordinary levels. This is where figures like $120,000 sometimes appear in collector discussions. However, it is important to understand that this is not the value of a normal 1979 Kennedy half dollar, even in circulated condition. It represents a rare exception, not the average coin. For example, if a coin has a major double strike that clearly shows two overlapping designs, or a severe off-center strike that reveals missing design elements, collectors may see it as a once-in-a-lifetime piece. If that coin also has strong historical interest and is certified in high demand by top grading companies, serious collectors may compete aggressively for it at auction. But in reality, most 1979 Kennedy half dollars, even those in decent or worn condition, do not come close to such values. Dusty, scratched coins typically remain in the low-value range unless something truly unusual is present. That is why careful inspection is so important in coin collecting. Collectors often examine details such as surface texture, edge quality, lettering alignment, and any irregularities in the design. Even small differences can sometimes point toward a rare variety or mint error. The thrill of the hobby comes from this exact process, the search for something hidden in plain sight. It is also important to remember that condition plays a major role in value. A circulated coin with scratches, dirt, and wear is always less valuable than a sharp, uncirculated example. But even condition alone cannot create a six-figure value. Only rarity and exceptional uniqueness can push a coin into that level of auction demand. The 1979 Kennedy half dollar remains an interesting part of modern U.S. coinage because it sits in an era where millions were produced, yet a few rare mistakes and anomalies still exist. That contrast is what keeps collectors interested. The idea that something so common could also hide something so rare is what drives people to keep searching. This next coin, the 1983 Kennedy half dollar with the P mint mark, a coin that many people overlook, but collectors never ignore. The Kennedy half dollar itself was first introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy, and it quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. By 1983, the coin was no longer made of silver. It was a copper nickel-clad coin, but it still carried the same iconic design that collectors love. What makes 1983 interesting is that the U.S. Mint did not release official uncirculated mint sets that year, which means finding high-quality examples became much harder over time. Now here's where things get really interesting. A typical 1983p Kennedy half dollar found in circulated condition, the kind with scratches, wear, and everyday damage, is usually worth around its face value, about 50 cents to maybe $1. Even in better uncirculated condition, most examples sell for just a few dollars, and only top-grade coins reach into the hundreds or, in rare cases, a few $1,000s at auction. Link +1. So, how do we go from a 50-cent coin to a story claiming a value of $140,000? This is where the world of coin collecting becomes exciting, and sometimes misunderstood. That massive value is not for a normal circulated coin. For a 1983p Kennedy, half-dollar to even approach high auction prices, it would need something extremely rare. A major mint error, error, a unique striking flaw, or an exceptionally high grading score that places it among the finest known examples. Errors are the real game changers. Coins with dramatic off-center strikes, struck through debris, or other unusual mint mistakes can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how rare and visually striking they are. Some 1983 error coins have been estimated to reach over $1,000 or more when the error is significant. But even then, reaching six figures like $140,000 would require a once-in-a-lifetime combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Link. Now picture this: a coin struck perfectly, preserved flawlessly for decades, graded at the absolute top of the scale, something like MS-68 or higher, and possibly featuring a unique error never widely seen before. That's the kind of coin that could ignite a bidding war at auction. That's the kind of coin that turns ordinary collectors into competitors willing to pay extraordinary prices. But here's the reality you need to understand. Most 1983p Kennedy half-dollars in circulated, scratched, fine condition, like the one we're talking about, do not carry that kind of value. In fact, visible wear and scratches usually reduce the value significantly because collectors prefer coins with minimal damage. Link. Still, that doesn't mean your coin is worthless. Every coin has a story, and sometimes the smallest detail can change everything. A tiny error, a slight misalignment, a doubling in the design. These are the details that collectors hunt for. Think about it. Millions of these coins were minted, over 34 million in Philadelphia alone. But how many survived in perfect condition? How many were struck with rare errors? That's what creates value. Not just age, but rarity within that age. Link. And that's why coin collecting is so addictive. Because every coin you check could be the one. Every old jar, every drawer, every forgotten collection could hide something extraordinary. This next coin, the Kennedy half-dollar from 1972 amperes coin that may look worn, scratched, and ordinary, but has been discussed among collectors with auction values reaching as high as $183,000 even in circulated good condition. At first glance, this coin appears simple and familiar. It features the portrait of John F. Kennedy on the front, a design introduced in 1964 shortly after his assassination as a tribute to his legacy. The reverse shows the presidential seal of the United States, with an eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, representing strength and peace. This design has become iconic and is recognized all over the world. In this case, we are not focusing on the mint mark, which means the coin could have been struck at different U.S. mint facilities. By 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar was already being produced in large numbers, and most coins entered circulation or were stored by collectors. Because of this, the majority of 1972 half-dollars are common and carry no special premium beyond their face value. The condition described here is circulated scratched good condition. This means the coin has been used in everyday transactions and shows clear signs of wear. Scratches are visible across the surface, and the high points of the design, such as Kennedy's hair and facial features, are worn down. The eagle on the reverse is still visible but lacks sharp detail. It is the kind of coin most people would overlook or ignore. Under normal circumstances, a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar in this condition is worth only 50 cents. It is common, widely produced, and not considered rare. But in the world of coin collecting, value is not always about how a coin looks. It is about what makes it different. The idea that a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar in circulated scratched good condition could reach a value of $183,000 comes from extremely rare and exceptional mint error examples. These are not standard coins. They are unique pieces where something unusual happened during the minting process, creating a collectible that stands out from millions of others. One of the most important types of errors collectors look for is the doubled die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during its creation, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. This doubling can sometimes be seen in the lettering, the date, or even in Kennedy's portrait. When the doubling is strong and clearly visible, it can significantly increase the coin's value. Another type of error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned during minting, causing the design to be shifted or partially missing. Some off-center strikes are subtle, but dramatic examples can become visually striking and highly desirable. There are also die cracks and die breaks, which appear as raised lines or unusual shapes on the coin's surface. These occur when the minting dies become worn or damaged. While not all die cracks are valuable, some bold and unusual examples can attract strong collector interest. In rare cases, coins may also show plancher errors, where the metal blank itself has defects before being struck. This can include unusual textures, improper composition, or surface irregularities. When verified by experts, these features can make a coin highly valuable. Even though this coin is circulated and scratched, rarity can be more important than condition. A heavily worn coin with a strong and verified mint error can still command high prices because collectors are searching for uniqueness rather than perfection. Collectors evaluate coins based on several key factors. The first is authenticity. Many marks or unusual features are simply the result of damage after the coin leaves the mint. These do not add value. A true mint error must be confirmed by professionals and must match known characteristics. The second factor is visibility. The error must be clear and easy to identify. Strong and obvious features are more desirable because they are easier to verify and more visually appealing. The third factor is remaining detail. Even in circulated condition, the coin must still show enough clarity to confirm what makes it special. If the coin is too worn, it becomes difficult to verify its uniqueness. Professional grading plays a major role in determining value. Experts examine the coin under magnification, compare it with known examples, and assign an official grade. This process confirms authenticity and helps establish market value. Auction markets are where coins like this can achieve incredible prices. When collectors recognize a rare and unique piece, competition can become intense. Bidding wars can push values far beyond expectations, especially when the coin has a strong combination of rarity, history, and visual appeal. However, it is important to stay realistic. Not every 1,972 Kennedy half-dollar is valuable. Most are common and worth only 50 cents. The difference between an ordinary coin and one worth thousands or more depends entirely on rare and verified minting errors. If you ever come across a 1,972 half-dollar, it is worth taking a closer look before ignoring it. Examine the date, the lettering, and the overall design carefully. Look for anything unusual such as doubling, misalignment, or missing details. A magnifying glass can help reveal small features that are not visible at first glance. Many collectors have made incredible discoveries simply by checking coins that others ignored. What looks like a simple and worn half-dollar could turn out to be something truly special. The excitement of coin collecting comes from the possibility of discovery. Every coin carries history, and sometimes that history includes rare minting mistakes and unexpected value. Even a scratched and circulated coin can hold hidden potential if it has the right characteristics. This last coin, the 1,977 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another 50-cent coin, worn from circulation, covered in small scratches, and maybe even a little dull from years of use. But what if a coin like this could be connected to a value as high as $150,000 in today's auction market? The Kennedy half-dollar, first introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy, quickly became one of the most collected coins in the United States. By 1977, the coin had already gone through several composition changes, and it was now made of a copper nickel clad rather than silver. Millions of these coins were produced, and most entered circulation, meaning they were used in everyday transactions, passed from hand to hand, and often forgotten. Now imagine a 1,977 Kennedy half-dollar in circulated condition. It has scratches, visible wear, maybe some dullness on the surface. This is what collectors would call a fine condition coin. In reality, most coins in this state are only worth their face value, 50 cents, or slightly more if someone is collecting by date. So how do we jump from a coin like that to a staggering $150,000? This is where the story becomes exciting. That kind of value doesn't come from an ordinary coin. It comes from something extraordinary hidden within it. In the coin collecting world, rarity is everything. A coin becomes valuable when it is unique, hard to find, or has a special feature that sets it apart from millions of others. One of the biggest factors that can transform a simple 1,977 half dollar into a high-value piece is a mint error. Errors happen during the production process at the mint. Maybe the coin was struck off center. Maybe there was a doubled design, or perhaps something interfered with the striking process, leaving behind a dramatic and unusual look. These errors are rare, and collectors are always searching for them. Another factor is condition, but not just any condition. We're talking about coins that are preserved in nearly perfect state, graded at the highest levels like MS-67 or MS-68. These coins are extremely rare because most 1,977 half dollars were used in everyday life and never preserved carefully. Finding one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. But here's where the dream meets reality. A circulated, scratched, fine condition 1,977 Kennedy half dollar, just like the one we're describing, is almost never going to reach anywhere near $150. Zeroth. That level of value would require an exceptional combination of rarity, condition, and uniqueness. It would likely need to be one of the finest known examples in existence, or feature a dramatic and one-of-a-kind mint error that captures the attention of serious collectors. Still, that doesn't mean your coin isn't worth checking. Sometimes even circulated coins can carry small but valuable details. A slight doubling in the lettering, an unusual alignment, or a rare die variety could increase the value far beyond face value. And for collectors, the excitement is in the possibility. Think about how many of these coins were made, millions upon millions. Yet only a tiny fraction have something truly special about them. That's what drives collectors. That's what creates stories of coins being discovered in everyday places and later selling for surprising amounts. And that's why people all over the world still search through their change, their old coin jars, and inherited collections. Because every coin has a chance, even if that chance is small. The idea that something ordinary could turn into something extraordinary is what keeps the hobby alive.